Good morning, class 9 children. Welcome back. In our last class in English language, or English paper 1, we started with our compositions. There we understood what is a composition, the differences between three kinds of creative writings, uh, like paragraph writing and essay writing and composition. Further, we also talk on the kinds of compositions, and there we found out 7 kinds of compositions as per grammar, and each kind of composition we went into detail to know uh, with examples. Hope uh, you understood these all kinds of compositions and how do we identify these 7 kinds of compositions. And I had told you that out of the 7 kinds of compositions, 5 kinds of compositions will be asked in your paper, uh, including the picture writing. So one question will be compulsory in the question paper, that is your picture writing, which is a choice. But I also suggested that picture writing is your last choice to be attempted, because this question happens to be for the weaker children in the class. So do not at first hand choose this picture writing as your choice, otherwise you are going to reveal yourself that you are a weak child in the class, as I had told you last time. So anyways, you got a clip of the very 7 kinds of compositions, and you might have noted these all in your English language exercise notebook. We'll today further understand how do we write a good composition, and at the same time we'll also discuss the steps to write a good composition. And after this we'll then discuss about what kind of homework we'll get, and then if this question is understood, now it makes us easy for us to write English language assignment as well, because 3 such compositions you have to write in your assignment. So once you understand what is a composition, different kinds of compositions, and how do you write a good composition, then it becomes easy for you to write your assignment. Hence, we'll begin with our today's lesson, which is a continuation part of your first question, that is composition. So I hope you understood the previous classes what we had discussed in our English language. So if that is still fresh in your mind, let us now continue with our work. Now see, so today's topic is steps to write a composition. So a composition has steps to write. Now what are these steps? This is what we need to understand. So first and foremost, number 1, there are 4 compulsory steps to write a composition, and the 5th one is an optional step we have. Optional means when we need to have it. If we don't, the 5th step is not required. Now let us see what are the compulsory 4 steps needed to write a good composition. First one is rubric. Rubric means heading, or to make it simple, it means title. So we need to read the question first and then understand what could be the possible topic to be written for the composition. So that topic we write before we start writing a composition is called rubric or heading or title. So we must think a good heading to write a composition. So without a heading, it becomes very difficult for us to write a composition. Take an example. If some guests do arrive at your house. Your mother is busy, or she has gone out. You are there with your father. The father uh, told you, dear child, be it son or daughter, go to kitchen and then prepare a cup of tea for the guest who has come in our house. Now you understood what you are going to make into entering into kitchen. Your target is to make a cup of tea. So a cup of tea is in your mind. So this is what is a topic which you know what you are going to have. So according to the requirement of making a cup of tea, you will have the ingredients made ready: tea leaves, water, milk, sugar, and other things as required. So once you have a heading set with you, you know what you are going to have as ingredients to uh, the requirement of the topic. Hence, it became easy. What you are going to make in the kitchen. If your father had told you, dear child, go into the kitchen and prepare something. Now this something will be a confused uh, thought for you, because entering into kitchen, what you are going to prepare. So you'll have so many thoughts, and all thoughts will get jumbled up. Hence, so once you get a heading, you will have the things required to be put into that heading. So you understood here that without a topic, it becomes very difficult, very confusing for you what to write, what not to write. Hence, you must give a rubric, a heading, or a title, or a topic to your composition. Now, once you have given the heading, thereafter you have the thoughts. What you are to write as per the heading. So hence this is clear for you. So the first step is you need to have a topic given for your composition. Then second step is introduction. You need to introduce the topic. What is it? How is it? Why is it? Right? So all about the topic we need to introduce. We need to talk a bit about the topic that you are writing in a composition. So this is introduction. You have to introduce. And then step number 3, content or matter. Now, after you have introduced the topic in your first paragraph of your composition, the next paragraph begins with your content or matter. So, which is also called body. Right? So, this is also called body. Body of a composition. Body of a composition. So, we need to write what is needed for that topic. We need to have a body of that topic what we are writing. So here we have content, we have subject, we have matter, what are we discussing, what are we writing as per the topic given. So this becomes the body of a composition. Then we go to, then however, body has several paragraphs as we know, because I already reminded you last time also the differences between an essay writing and composition. The first and foremost is in a composition you need to have many paragraphs. So paragraphs must be there. So these paragraphs are the matters of what we write in, as per the topic, right? Then comes conclusion. The final paragraph will be your conclusion. We need to conclude what we have written as per the topic of the composition. So we need to give the conclusion. And number 5th is moral if needed. So basically when we write a story writing, we have a moral. We have a lesson to learn in the story. So we provide a moral, right? So other than that, we don't generally have moral in the other kinds of compositions we write. So for story writing and picture writing, if we are writing a story in the picture, we are providing a moral. And other kinds of compositions like descriptive, narrative, argumentative, expository, reflective, we don't require to have a model given in the composition. So step number 5th is an optional step we have while writing composition. The above four steps are compulsory for writing any of the compositions. So once again, we have a recap of steps to write a composition. Now we need to have a heading, we need to have a rubric, we need to have a title, we need to have a topic given for a composition. Then we need to introduce that topic in our writing, and then we have content paragraphs, meta paragraphs, or we call it body of a composition, which is to be divided into many number of paragraphs. And then we have a conclusion given to the composition that we have written, and model. If we are writing a story writing or picture writing, then we provide a model in the composition, otherwise not. So this is what we call steps to write a composition. Hope this is understood. Now if this part is understood, now we move to the next question we have associated with composition. So see how to write a good composition. Everybody writes composition, right? But how do we write a good composition? Here the most important thing is good composition where we get a deserved mark. So this is what is very important. I have placed on the board. So there are two different ways or format of writing a composition. They are, number one, traditional format, or we call it an old format, and then number two is modern format or modern pattern. Right? Now traditional pattern is an outdated pattern, an old pattern is an outdated pattern. Now we are not using that. We are now strictly told to write composition in a modern pattern or a computer pattern, right? So we'll follow modern pattern. So while writing a composition, many of the things are to be known and understood. First and foremost, this we consider an A4 size page, right? A composition is better when it is written in a long sheet or an A4 size page, because you get an idea how many number of words you have written in the page of a composition, right? Now you see, so consider this is a page. Now when we talk about a page, A4 size page or full-scape size page, we have above margin, we have below margin, we have left hand side margin. These are all three sides are completely printed margin, right? We are to make a margin on the right hand side as well. Make an inch gap margin on every page of your full-scape size paper that you write a composition. Now when you have the four side margin given, now it becomes easy for us to write a composition, a good composition. See, right on the top center of the page, give a rubric or write a heading or write a topic of the composition that you are writing. So heading is a must. I already explained why is heading needed, why is topic needed, because it will give you the idea what you are going to write in the content, what you are going to write in the body of the composition. So here topic is a must, which is written on the center of the page where we start writing the composition. Now if you are writing the topic in bold letters, capital letters, no need to underline. And if you are writing in running, except the start of the word, leaving the prepositions and weak verbs, we are underlining the topic. So this is a must. Now leave one line and then begin your composition. Now beginning is very important to understand. So I told you, outdated pattern, the old pattern. Old pattern generally begun slightly inside the margin, and the paragraph is written, right? And when you have written the first paragraph, where it ended, beat here, beat here, beat here. Wherever it ended, the very next paragraph used to begin where the first paragraph ended. Suppose you finished here, first paragraph. The next paragraph used to begin here. The next paragraph continued. The next paragraph finished here or finished here. Then the very third paragraph used to begin here. That means the earlier paragraph's punctuation used to be important uh, for carrying out the next paragraph in the old pattern. Mind you, this we talked the old pattern, which is an outdated pattern. Now we are not following that. Now we are in the modern pattern, and in the modern pattern, see the difference. We begin our composition slightly away from the margin, slightly away from the margin, right? When you go on, we come to the next line of the paragraph. We go on and we come to the next line of the paragraph, right? And in this way, number of lines are required. We ended one paragraph, right? Now the modern pattern says that we are compulsory to leave one line after we have finished one paragraph. Compulsory, leave one line. Now, wherever the first paragraph ended has no importance to carry out the next paragraph, as it used to be in the old pattern. Now the new pattern says leave one line, then we begin in the same margin where we have begun the first paragraph. So the beginning must be in the same margin. It should be in the same line. The line should not change. We should follow the same line. And we went on. Second paragraph. Look here, second paragraph went on. The number of lines we required. Now it ended here. Now the third paragraph will begin leaving one line. One line gap must be there in between paragraphs in the modern pattern. And we begin the third paragraph in the same line where we started the second paragraph. The second paragraph started where first paragraph is started. Now third paragraph will start where second paragraph started. So the lining must not change. We should follow the same margin. And we went on, went on, went on, and paragraph ended. Now the ending can be anywhere. It doesn't matter for the next paragraph. It can end anywhere, right? As previously it was of importance as we discussed. Now in modern pattern, wherever the paragraph ends, it is of no importance. What is important is we have to follow the same start. Now the fourth paragraph started in the same margin where we have started the third paragraph. After leaving one line, we carry on a number of lines we required on the page, and then we turn over and we do the same. We follow the same. We have margin on the right hand side and we follow the same margin. So this is what is called modern pattern of writing a composition. We have to strictly follow this. Council has given us the format, the modern format of writing composition. We will follow the same. So once again, see, this is very important, because if you are writing a composition away from this format, then it will be cancelled. It will not be checked, and no marks will be given. No marks will be given. So please know. So see how to write a good composition. We discussed this. So there are two ways. One is modern pattern. The other is an old pattern, traditional pattern. Traditional pattern is now outdated. Leave it, forget it. Now we come to modern pattern, and as per the modern pattern, this is what is our format. This is an A4 size page or a full-script size page. We have a heading written in the center of the page. We either write in capitals or we underline. Leave one line gap must be there after the heading. Then we begin our paragraph slightly inside the margin. We finish our first paragraph. Now the first paragraph ends anywhere. It is not a concern for us for the next paragraph. Now next paragraph should begin in the same margin, leaving one line gap. Then it ends anywhere. Leave one line and again go for the third paragraph. Follow the same margin where it started. Carry on the same. It goes on wherever it ends. Doesn't matter for the next paragraph. Leave one line. Follow the same margin of start. We start in the same margin. So this is our modern pattern of writing a composition. So I hope you understood what way we write our composition. So stick to this format and then we'll practice lots and lots of questions to write compositions. Now a question may arise, what should be the size of the paragraph? As we noted here that we need to have many paragraphs written in our body of a composition. So how big should be a paragraph? So first, your paragraph, each paragraph should have minimum 7 sentences to maximum 15 sentences. Please note, each paragraph should be in between 7 to 15 sentences. Do not count the words, count sentences. So when it comes to 7 to 15 sentences, you change your paragraph. And the next paragraph, again see, when it comes to in between 7 to 15 sentences, give a change to your paragraph. So it becomes nice, attractive, beautiful. So this modern pattern is a very disciplined pattern because it all falls in the same margin, and the number of paragraphs are also almost of a same size because it falls in between 7 to 15 sentences. So it gives a beautiful look of the composition. Whereas the old pattern, it ended here, next paragraph began here, it ended here, next paragraph began here, it ended here, next paragraph began here. So it was a zigzag pattern. It was a zigzag pattern, right? And it looked very confused also. But now you see, it has a disciplined look. Every start of a paragraph falls in the same margin. So it looks a beautiful uh, composition. And at the same time, paragraphs must be more or less uniform. It should fall in between 7 to 15 sentences. Likewise, you need to have at least 6 to 8 paragraphs. 6 to 8 paragraphs written in your composition. So in a composition, you should have minimum 6 paragraphs to 8 paragraphs. So do not write a composition in one paragraph. Mind you, we have already finished writing a paragraph writing when you were in 5 and 6. Now we are writing composition. And in a composition, we need to divide your composition into number of paragraphs. 6 to 8 or even 10 paragraphs. So more paragraph we have, the more attractive the composition looks. And why we should have paragraphs in a composition is, you are first of all writing 350 to 400 words in a composition. So when you don't have a paragraph, the reading becomes very monotonous. It becomes very boring. The reader will have to go on and on and on and on without any breakage. So when the reader gets a paragraph composition, he is very upset. He becomes displeased, reading on and on and on without giving a break. Right? So when paragraphs are written in a composition, when he or she reads one paragraph, he or she gets a break, and then he or she will go to the next paragraph, reads it, enjoys it, and then again takes a break, and then again reads the third paragraph, enjoys it more. So that is what is important. So we need to have more paragraphs written in a composition. The more paragraphs you have, better is your composition, right? So these are the ways how we have to write a good composition. And to come to the word limit of 350 to 400 words, use poem lines. If you recall any of the poem in relation to the topic that you're writing a composition, write a few lines of the poem, 3-4 lines of the poem. It's not that you need to write a whole poem on it. So just 3-4 lines. You can create yourself with the rhyming words, few of the lines, and then describe the topic. This is how we write a good composition, a better composition. You need to have a figure of speech used, like idioms, similes, metaphors. Then you have proverbs, famous sayings, old sayings, uh, include them in your writing when you are writing a composition. On one hand, you have to reach 400 words. So these all varieties will give you a better look of your composition. And do not have a misconception that every word that you write in a composition will be counted. So all words will not be counted. Weak verbs are omitted, articles are omitted, like etc. These things are not counted. So in a page, roughly full size page or A4 size page, we roughly count 110 words, 100 to 120 words maximum on a page. Likewise, now how many pages we require to write 400 words, you can calculate. So this is what we must do when we sit to write a composition. So hope the discussion on composition is ended. You understood the steps to write composition and how do we write a good composition, and in what pattern we write a good composition. So if this is clear for you, let me provide you the homework, some questions on your composition writing. So you try them at home, and if you are successful in doing the work, then in our next class or very shortly we'll also take English language or English paper 1 assignment also, because you have to write there 3 compositions on 3 separate topics. So once you make it easy, so that work will also become easy for us. So hope you understood. So the homework or home task will be given in your WhatsApp number. So let's end our today's class. Thank you so much.